These two images in Luke's Gospel are perhaps two of the most well-known, the mustard seed and the leaven. We probably should ask ourselves why, since few of us make bread from scratch with this type of leaven, since dry yeast has become common, and even fewer have ever seen a mustard tree, no matter how much we might like mustard on our food. Jesus, of course, lived in a primarily small town agricultural culture, although real power resided in the city. So he often used such images. Their staying power is truly remarkable, and the way in which he used them in parables also has had remarkable staying power. A parable is a complex figure of speech. It can be short, like today's, or a long narrative story, like the Good Samaritan. Preaching or teaching with parables was a tradition in the classical world well before Jesus. But parables were basically constructed to challenge the hearer to think in new ways, even to be shaken up, and frequently had more than one conclusion. While these two images are fairly gentle, not all the parables are, but they are all ways to summon up to us God's reign in ways we might not have ever imagined. Why is the mustard seed and the great tree which it becomes so enduring? It is an example of the universalism for which Luke is known. These birds of the air who will nest in the great tree are an image of the diversity of people who will make their home in God's kingdom, where it will truly be a kingdom, where we are all family, brothers and sisters of Jesus, no matter our race, creed, or sexual orientation. The image of the leaven is not so simple. We are, of course, attracted to the role of the woman who kneads the dough, clearly for us a Christ figure. But scholars tell us that leaven itself was considered unclean, so its role here is problematic. What is important, however, is that as the dough rises, the leaven is hidden. It is hidden but is working hard and will achieve its goal, the reign of God, in spite of being hidden. The early Christians could relate to that, small and hidden as their communities were. We read these verses in Luke between passages which tell us of opposition to Jesus. Perhaps the author placed them here as a comfort to the early Christians. The growth of the reign of God is a mystery, but like the growth of the mustard seed and the rising of the dough, with God's help, its coming is inevitable, and it welcomes all. In this time of synod, these images are also a comfort to us. Like our country, Ukraine, and the Middle East, we live in a time of conflict, division, and danger, as the early Christians did, who were surrounded by the Roman Empire. Yet these parables are often offered as a challenge to our usual ways of thinking. How the tiniest seed becomes a great tree. How the unclean leaven becomes bread which nourishes us all. What is the challenge to you and me in this difficult world in which we live? To what is God summoning us? Jesus often turns things inside out and upside down. What does God want us to do? You, me, the parish, the synod, so that our church might become the great tree which welcomes all into its arms, the bread available to all who come to the table.